Whew. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So good. I mean, we have a lot to talk about. Your sound, how you guys got to know each other, among many other things. The band name is very interesting, as a matter of fact. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is our band show. This is our 17th episode, and we are just so thrilled to be joined tonight by the fine, amazingly talented gentlemen of the band Cenote. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you.
Of course. So, guys, we've been listening to the awesome tunes all day, and our audience will now be lucky enough to do the same. So I think it would be fun I definitely want to talk about those tunes, but first, just dive in, let's let the audience get to know you a little bit. Let's hear the origin story of the band. How did you guys meet? How did this band get formed? And all that good stuff.
We met a while ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago.
I don't really remember it. We were probably both there, though.
I'm sure we were both there, yeah.
We're brothers. Did you tell the audience we're brothers?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're siblings, pretty close in age, so we've always known each other. We started playing together, I don't know.
I think I was 8, so you must have been 10.
Yeah, we probably didn't play together for the first, probably a couple of years after you picked up drums. We started jamming on, whatever we had, whatever Led Zeppelin or Van Halen we were listening to.
Really? You guys have been playing together since you were, super little?
Yeah, probably 12 or 13.
Yeah, we were young.
That's awesome.
I actually started off trying to play guitar like Will, but I don't know, I didn't have the attention span for it, or it just didn't interest me, and then I got a drum set a couple years later.
A little less headroom, Eric.
And that was that. And then we figured out, hey, we could just put the guitar and the drums in the same room, and then we could play together.
A novel discovery.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of convenient when you have a two-piece. It does help to have a drummer if you want to be in a band, so it kind of worked out, right?
Yeah, drummers tend to be the hardest to find, I've heard. So it's really, like you said, very convenient.
I've heard that, but that has not been our experience.
Yeah, we're working on bassist right now.
True, and if anyone's in the audience is interested, should they reach out?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, there you go. If you guys think you can keep up, I've been a musician my whole life. I don't know, it seems a little bit intimidating jamming with Cenote. There's a lot going on, a lot of different dynamics and styles that fuse together. But we'll get to all that. So you guys are playing when you're young, 12, 13. You're doing Van Halen covers, Led Zeppelin covers, the great ones as they're now known.
Classics.
The classics. But how did we get here to this amazing amalgamation of so many different styles? What's the missing pieces there?
It's just a lifetime of listening to music. So like I said, I started out with Van Halen stuff, that noisy lead guitar sound, and then moved on to stuff like Fall of Troy, which more noisy lead guitar sound, and that's just kind of been my trajectory. Now I listen to stuff like Vilgiardo, which is just crazy noisy lead guitar sound. And then with all sorts of other stuff in the middle, I was a huge Cloudkicker fan. He's like a solo project most of the time. Again, big guitar sound, big drum sound, and that's closer to some of the stuff we put out recently.
We were talking a little bit about Chan as well before we went live.
Yep, we were both big Chan fans.
Yeah.
That song you just heard, I for sure wrote that when I was in a Chan phase.
It has the vibe, but it also has a unique characteristic that I think is your own.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. We'll dive into that more too, because man, there's just so many different things that you guys pull together. The one thing I think is so fascinating, it's so much sound is being made from two people, and it continues to keep it interesting. It's I feel like it's not like I'm wishing as an audio engineer, right? I'm not like, where's the bass? Where's the rhythm guitar? It's like, wow, this is a lot, but in a really good way, in a really compact way that is also digestible, because you guys do have a lot going on. So I said earlier to you guys, it's like controlled chaos, which I think is fantastic. I think any band in your genre should strive to achieve that so the audience can also enjoy it. So, I mean, when you compose songs, do you think about these things, or how do you approach writing?
How do I approach writing? Well, like you said, we're a two-piece, and we have to fill up the whole sound. So that is kind of what I have in mind when I'm writing.
That was kind of just born out of necessity, because we were in a band in high school, which was a right? There were
That sounds right.
5 of us.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But we split. People went their separate ways, and then it was just me and Will hanging out, jamming in our mom's basement. And the first, like, you remember some of the earlier stuff we wrote at that time was a little thin.
Still is.
We hadn't really rounded out how to make a whole sound out of 2 people yet. So that was, that was a process.
Thin how? Because if you haven't changed the elements, just you two, what have you done to make it feel more full?
Writing style, I guess. So like in the song we're gonna play, I think next, is probably what he's referring to. That's probably our oldest song in rotation right now. It's a lot of me playing like single note melody stuff without a lot of big chords, and I think it sounds thin. Like in the recorded versions, I go back and I write a harmony and I write a bass line and it fills it out. But another song we just dropped, same thing. So it's just a lot of single note stuff. And we didn't think it sounds like I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds thin. Like there's not enough going on. So like when I'm writing now, I'll come up with a melody or something, and then I'll see like, okay, how can I expand this up or down to play a larger chord to fill up our sound so that I can sound like we have a rhythm guitarist with me, or a bassist maybe even.
Right, I was going to ask that next. I was going to jump to the voicings of the chords and the way that you are simultaneously, it seems like you're managing a bass line, with the E and the A string while playing melodies. Of course, the melodies are beautiful and they're right there in your face. So you're thinking about that as you're composing, or at this point is it so second nature that you need those elements? Like how are you making it less thin as the guitar player?
It's become second nature at this point. It's something I had to figure out slowly over time. I'm not the only one who does that, by the way. Like classical guitarists have been doing, bass line with their thumb, melody with their fingers forever. It's just I'm applying it to our sound, which is sort of a noisy kind of basement metal sound, which I think probably contributes to why we sound a little different.
Is that how you would describe yourself? Basement metal, or?
We still haven't nailed that down.
We're not sure.
Really.
I don't know. You decide. We're gonna play basically everything we have.
I can't. That's a job I don't want.
Well, the audience. What do we sound like?
Because I think it's unfair with how eclectic. I think everyone will learn. I know we only just heard one song, but I think it would be kind of unfair to put you guys in a box. Whereas I think like certain guys would be like, no, we're a blues band. That's what we do, and we do it really well. They would want to be in that box, But I feel like you guys, you got to just breathe and live where you may fall, in a sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing. We haven't really found a box that we could fit everything into neatly yet, because we've been writing stuff together. Like the song that we're about to play is that almost 10 years old now?
Gotta be, yeah.
So we've been writing stuff together for 10 years and have really just recently gotten around to seriously recording it. And the style has changed so much, and our influences have changed and shifted so much in those 10 years that we can't. And we have a real problem when we're thinking about like, okay, we need to put out an album. What's going to be on it? We don't have any 2 songs that really sound like they would go together, be on the same album. So that's kind of troublesome.
It's something we're working on with the next. We've got most of our next album written, and that was something that we wanted to focus on, was making a more coherent, cohesive, singular work across the album. So it all sounded sort of like one big piece, as opposed to our current self-titled, which is just sort of all of the random songs we had written. Well,
that's kind of a good foreshadowing for what I really want to talk about in our second interview, which is your most recent release, at least to my knowledge, Outlines. And I feel like I heard a story in my mind while listening, and we'll leave it at that. We'll unpack that, because I did really feel as a listener a fluidity, like I was on a hero's journey almost while listening to that record. So more of that type of conversation to come, everyone. And if you want to contribute to the chat, drop a head of lettuce, as well to show the band some love, but drop a question. You know, our band show loves to hear what the audience has to ask. We've had a lot of great questions that we would have never have asked if you hadn't chimed in. So please feel free to join the conversation. And thank you for being here with us, joining us tonight. And if you like what you're hearing and you already have not, please subscribe. It'll cost you absolutely nothing and mean the world to us, as well as give this video a like and share it with a friend. Sharing is caring. It will definitely help the band grow. And of course, it will help our band show be able to continue to bring bands to you every month, as is our mission here. So before we dive into the second interview, guys, like I said, we have a lot to talk about. I love the band name. I heard the story in our production meeting. I think we got to share that with the audience. Can you tell them a little bit about the band name, how it came to be, and what it means?
Sure. So we are Cenote. Cenotes are like limestone sinkholes that form in the Yucatan area of Mexico. And the ancient Mayans used to throw, they believed they were portals to the underworld. They used to throw gold and sacrifices in them. And I learned that in some history course somewhere, and it stuck. So we had to come up with band names, and that was when we threw out. And neither of us hated it too much, which I don't know if you've ever had to pick a band name. I'm sure you have.
Yeah, and random name generators are no help.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, well, that one doesn't make me cringe so much. So, and then we went with that, and I like it now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like at this point, it's no going back.
Yeah. I already made a logo. We're kind of stuck.
We're kind of sold on it, which isn't bad. You know, it's not bad. We like it.
Yeah, no, there's no going back. There's only going forward here. That's how our band show likes to do it. We're just at the start of the show, guys, so stick around. There is only more amazing music and great conversations to come your way. So without further ado, I love talking to these guys. It's been a blast so far, and I can't wait to continue the conversation. But what I love even more is the tunes that you're about to hear, so I don't want to keep them from you anymore. So with that said, guys, our band show, episode 17, live with Cenote. Gentlemen, can you do us the honor of jumping into the next set?